Hello my dear friends of the registration process for electronic cigarettes at the European Union via the XML tool. Today I'll do a little follow-up video for the final steps of the registration process, meaning the submission via the additional tool which I haven't introduced in my first video. I'll do the video in English today and you don't have to look at me, you'll only see the screens of my computer because I haven't got the time to do a lot of cutting and I haven't got the time for writing subtitles because the registration takes all of my available time to actually finalize everything within the timeline of 20th November. Okay, let's go ahead. What I haven't showed you yet is that you need an additional tool for the final submission of your data to the EU. Right, whenever you have done an input in your XML tool, you will have this little export button beside the product, or even if beside your submitter data, or also beside your attachments. You will find this little export button. When you click it and then you click, it will usually change. This one isn't possible to export because it's not a validated product. I haven't finished this yet. So anyway, then you will find a send button. If you press that as well, then the system will create a file in one of the folders that you will find in your XML creator tool. You have the data folder, you have the export folder. In this export folder you will find usually the folders attachments, e-cigarette product submissions and submitters. The last two ones I created to make it a little bit more easy to handle it for personal preferences. Anyway, before you can transmit anything of these data, you should know that the system creates these wonderful numbered XML documents on your computer. These are the things that you have to submit to the EU via the tool that I haven't introduced to you yet, and I'm going to show you right now what you have to have. It is this eTrustEx web access tool, which you have an inbox like on a usual email system, and you can send stuff via making a new submission. Actually, you need to have another Java installed, and you need to install an exception for the EU eTrustEx system in your Java application to be able to send anything to the EU. Now, whenever you can see this picture, you are able to upload files. Then you give this whole thing a little name, so let's call it submission, attachment, and then you can choose a file from your attachment folder or from your export folders, whatever you prefer. When you found the right file, which also only has this number, so I usually have another screen beside that to actually compare these cryptic numbers with the data that I see in the XML tool. Unfortunately for products, you won't find the number beside your product in the XML tool. You gotta write down the time when you saved it, so that's the only way to find it. Anyway, looking at these attachment files, you can choose one and then you'll find it up here. Please don't tick the box, because it will create an error message when it comes back from the EU. Next step is you need to save the whole thing, and that can take, even though if it's as you can see, this is 89-90 kilobytes, which is not an awful lot. Sometimes this can take up to 10 minutes for even smallest size files. Anyway, once this has happened, you can then click send, and you will transfer the file to the EU. I don't do it because I have already transmitted that or submitted that file. Now, you will immediately receive an email from the EU that you have submitted something, or it has been or it has arrived at the EU server. But after that, you need to wait for hours and hours. It actually, my last attachments took up to 22 hours to get a response from EU. And the thing is, you have to submit every single attachment and only one attachment before you can actually submit the product itself, because in the XML file for the product you have defined several attachments, and if the attachments are not on the server of the EU, even if the product is validated, you will receive an error message from the EU and your product is not registered. To show the short process, or the funny process of reading an email that you get from the EU, you will go back to your inbox, and you've got to wait a little while until Java is actually able to open the window. Because there is a little step you have to implement before you are able to actually read the answers of the EU. You have to install a certificate into Windows, and you have to ask the IT support of the EU for how it should work. Because I can't help you there. I'm not an IT specialist. I needed somebody to help me on my computer to actually install the certificate, which made it possible to download the answers of the EU to my computer and then be able to read it. As you can see, sometimes this whole thing can take quite a while. I'll try again, because I think maybe the Java client has got a problem, so we go back to the post box and take another message from the EU. See, I'm getting asked here for Java. And okay, then you can download the actual answer, and here you gotta put in the key which is generated by the certificate, or which you generate in the certificate, or however, I don't know how it really works, but I've got this little key, and then you choose that, and then you go and get another question if you really want to do it, and then you do it. And here, first of all, you had to create a path to which the data is actually passed on to. Now let's open the folder with the answers of the EU. Well, they all come in the same format, so you will only receive these little numbers, and you can then go, and we're going to have a look at my iStick Pico. These are attachments, and let's open one so you can see the kind of answer you get from the EU. Now this was a successful one, and you can basically see it up here when you read success. All the other numbers, you can only see what kind of data you have transmitted. Oh, it's that one. The attachment with this number was the original attachment. Let's have a look at a few other ones. That's a successful one as well. Another success. I know I have one without success, so we can see an error. Christ, all successful. That's a wonder. Here we got the one with the errors. If you receive mails with either error or submission failed or whatever, then you can be sure your product is not registered. So you gotta do the whole process again, and you see the iStick Pico, I have only the mod, not with the atomizer, meaning I shouldn't need things like coil composition, and I certainly shouldn't need a liquid volume capacity, but that's what I'm asked for, so I had to amend the XML file to make it possible to, in the end, register the iStick Pico successfully. But this is about what you have to do, and I wish you all good fun with continuing with your registrations. Thank you for listening, and good luck. Keep on vaping.